See a sea of orange as the marshals make their way back out onto the circuit, which means it's almost time to go racing again here at Fulbeck. JKC Pro Kart Heat number 2, they're the juniors getting themselves sorted. Amy Frame will start then on pole position with Connor McCarthy alongside Sebastian Pereira, and Max Shields will share the second row. Harrison Johns and Christian Oblang on row 3. Then we've got Sophie Pawsey, Harry Brown, Harry Roddis and Owen Roberts, who we spoke to at the end of heat number 2, where he had that off at the top end of the circuit. We weren't sure whether that kart was going to get back out, and it looks like they have actually managed to get it fixed. Look like there's a couple of people in the paddock as well have chipped in. I've seen a few down there helping out with that kart, and there the number 7 is in the back right corner as we focus on the pole sitter Amy Frame. Alongside that will be Connor McCarthy. Max Shields, there was some earlier there just dancing away to a tune that's going on in his own head. Seb Pereira as well. Heat 10 of Harrison Johns. And there's Harry Brown. There in the background we see the 7 of Owen Roberts, the driver that had that issue and that big off, alongside Harry Roddis behind Sophie Pawsey. And there he is, getting ready to go back out again after that off. Thought his race day was over, but the JKC paddock have come together to make sure that number 7 machine isn't going home quite so soon as he thought he may well have thought. And he is back out and shown some good pace so far today. So the assistance there for Christian Oblang, just making sure that both the engines are on these RPM powered Honda GX200 engines, all of them sealed. I don't know if you can be able to see that on the left hand side of the screen there, just above the bumper underneath the airbox. That one-piece seal compulsory now from the beginning of March on these Honda 200 engines. And it is a sealed formula, which means that it's a balanced performance. Everybody runs the same engine. Power restricted and placed into a certain band, so nobody can have too much waft. And it also helps to keep the costs down, which is all about, it's what it's all about at this grassroots entry level racing. Thank you for joining us here then at Fulbeck. We're just waiting for confirmation that we're good to go out here on circuit. Please do get in touch. Actually, the live stream comments have dwindled somewhat during the lunch break as the action has ceased here at Fulbeck, but we're about to go racing once again here in Lincolnshire. This is the opening round of this 8-round series, which will see us travel the length and breadth of the country. We go into Northampton next, into the Midlands area for Wilton. Then we're going all the way up north into Cumbria for Rowrah, and then we go to the other extremity. We're going down to Lydd in Kent for round 4, followed by GYG and Landau. 2 trips into Wales before Houghton Park over in Cheshire and Ella Park in Suffolk to bring our season to a close in CKC, JKC in the championship. That'll be in the first weekend of October. So we look forward to an action-packed season in this wonderful championship. The sun now glistening here at Fulbeck. The wind is still with us. As you can see, the start marshal there with the green flag up in the air. The wind still blowing all the way across the circuit. And at least the rain from earlier on has stopped. There's Owen Roberts now just trying to get back used to that kart again. I'm sure it'll feel a little bit differently after it got placed into the tyre barrier earlier on when that wheel decided to depart the number 7, sent him unfortunately off and into the tyres. So he's just giving that kart a bit of a move around, bit of a feel to see how that kart is going as he makes his way around, also trying to get as much heat into them tyres as they possibly can without weaving and overcooking it too much. That means that they've got to start all the way down at the back of the grid. Standing start, of course, for our junior pro kart. Doesn't take them too long to get gridded up, them being 10 of them, and they're all rather sensible. They just find their grid slots and get themselves ready to go. So it's going to be Amy Frame on the inside, Connor McCarthy outside. Long drag run down to the first corner. The board's up already. Lights are on. Lights are out, and we're away and racing in the afternoon session. Junior Pro Kart's away. It's a good start from Amy Frame, as well as Connor McCarthy on the outside. Sophie Pawsey's made a good start from the back of the pack as well. She's going to try and come through as the leaders as McCarthy's going to try and go all the way around the outside of Amy Frame into that first corner. He will do, and he's holding position, he's holding firm. He's going to have track position. Max Shields, though, as well. He's coming through from the second row up into second place. Now, all the way, he's right up on the back of McCarthy. Doesn't want to go too soon, though, Max Shields, and throw it away and have to come all the way through the pack, because we know he's got the pace from the previous ones as Amy Frame goes incredibly wide. She's lost one place already to Oblang. She might lose another to Pereira, with Pawsey as well coming through in the background. Frame really struggling in the early phase of this race on the cold tyres to get that number 14 machine turned in and to hold any sort of grip into that corner. She may well lose 5th place as well as Sophie Pawsey tries to come down the inside, although Pawsey too far back to make the move stick. In the background as well, Harry Brown coming under pressure as Owen Roberts comes down the inside. Brown's going to stick that one out round the outside and will slot back in, but he's already past Harry Roddice and Harrison Johns as Roddice goes very wide and bounces over them curbs. McCarthy, though, still continuing to lead the way. Harrison Johns picks up a warning. I imagine that one will be for either contact or braking. It won't be for braking formation at the start because it was a standing start. So I imagine that one will be for contact, as most of our runners elect to take a rather wide line round that turn 4 hairpin. Down the bottom end of the circuit there. Not sure whether, with the sun coming out, so a little bit of grease is coming out there and they're struggling to get it turned in, but certainly down that far into the circuit, not many of them actually managing to make the apex. Out at the front though, everybody sets their personal best time, all the way down to 7th. As Harry Roddice gets past Harry Brown, looks like he's made a mistake. He's dropped down into 10th place as both Harry Roddice and Harrison Johns come through, and a lap time of 1:02 very much suggests that he's had a spin. That's around about 7 or 8 seconds off his normal pace, so problems for Harry Brown as the lead battle sees Conor McCarthy in the 74 machine holding very firm. We had him originally down as 24 on our notes early doors, but he's definitely running 74 this time. Is McCarthy, the 15-year-old from Bridgend in South Wales, holding off Max Shields, and it's also allowing Oblang and Pereira in the background as Pereira sets the fastest lap of the race, a 50.9, as they both close right up on the back of this battle. So the 4 drivers behind the leader, all quicker, but have to find a way past Conor McCarthy. McCarthy holding firm. Max Shields hasn't even really been able to get alongside. In the background, Pereira pops out of the slipstream of Christian Oblang. Oblang, though, closing the door into the second chicane, so Pereira has to slot back in and accept that he can't make a way through there at that corner and has to settle back in. So it's the top 4 of McCarthy, Shields, Oblang and Pereira. All very evenly matched in terms of pace, although Pereira did try that move on Oblang in the middle part of the last lap and just couldn't get through down into the chicane. Didn't lose too much time, though, as they come through this time, as McCarthy actually opens up a bit of a gap on Maximus Shields, certainly over the line in terms of timing, although you wouldn't tell from how they're all still nose to tail down towards the right-hander at turn 1. Look over the shoulder of Christian Oblang, shown as number 1 on the timing down the left, but actually running as number 76, which is more akin to his usual number. We've seen him before running 776, but most runners here at CKC running just the 2 numbers in terms of their on their carts. A couple of them are running 3, but see Max Shields there in the 181. That's his normal race number in juniors. He runs 18 in the Rotaxes. Half race distance though, as Oblang takes a really wide line round there, and he's dropped away from the battle in front. Expect his time to be much slower that time. Lost almost a second in that corner just by going wide. Pereira, though, couldn't take advantage, although he is right on the back. Oblang's going to try and go defensive. Pereira pops out the slipstream, but thinks better of it and pops back in as Sophie Pawsey sets a personal best of 52.1 for her in 7th place. So now it really is back to 2x2 again, as McCarthy and Shields have been given some respite from Oblang and Pereira as they bounce over the curbs. In the background, Amy Frame still being chased by Sophie Pawsey and Owen Roberts, who's still showing some good pace. He's on par with Frame and Pawsey in front. And in the background, Christian Oblang making it very difficult for Sebastian Pereira to get through. So Oblang defending venomously from Pereira. Manages to get the final complexes of corners right this time, though, whereas before he really struggled in the that last lap and lost almost a second. McCarthy then with 2 minutes and 45 remaining, holding off Maximus Shields, and this time Pereira pops out the slipstream very, very late once again. Came out and he's gone wide onto the curb, over the grass as well, and Sebastian Pereira carries too much speed into the turn 1 hairpin, and he's lost around about a second and a half on Christian Oblang. In doing so, just couldn't get the kart stopped, bounced over the curbs, and then unfortunately the curb ran out and he came to a bumpy bit of grass there for Sebastian Pereira. Oblang given respite. He's got a comfortable P3 now. Pereira, we know he's got a bit extra pace potentially than what Oblang had, and Oblang was just making it very, very difficult for Pereira to even get alongside. Now Pereira's going to come through some 1.7 seconds behind. It's going to be very difficult for him to close that up unless Oblang makes a mistake. So we now focus on this very, very intense battle for the lead, which it has been almost all the way. Max Shields, though, second place will be more than enough to put him on pole position in the final with 2 heat victories and a second place. It's whether he wants to settle for second. I'm not sure that he does, as he pops out and has half a look down the inside into the left-hander there at turn number 3. Not a favoured overtaking spot unless the driver in front has made a mistake, but still half a look from Shields. Just has a quick think about getting down the inside in his new gold and red helmet. Still got 3 laps remaining by my calculations. They'll get round again before the time elapses, and then the last lap board will come out. McCarthy, though, does well and then parks the kart in the middle part of the track, really. Doesn't go all the way out onto the curb like most drivers do. Shields there. Looked like he caught a huge amount of curb on the way through, and he really is trying, despite the fact that second place will be more than enough for him to come through and take the pole position for the final in Junior Pro Kart. He's not given up hope of a victory here in this third heat. McCarthy has a look over his shoulder, and Shields, who looked like he dropped away ever so slightly, certainly through that early part of the lap, the chicane, that turn 1 chicane, like first part of the lap here that they're going to cut to in a few moments, McCarthy does look to have a stronger exit into this complex. It's something that Shields needs to work on, because Shields is catching the curbs on the way through there, and it is giving McCarthy a couple of kart lengths and is ruining a potential overtaking opportunity for Max Shields down there into that favoured turn 1, because he's very close on entry into that chicane. But then when they come out of it, McCarthy's got 2 or 3 kart lengths. Then arguably through this section of the track, Shields is a little bit quicker, and that closes him right back up again. And it's seesawing backwards and forwards. But at the moment, Max Shields just cannot put enough pressure on Conor McCarthy, and McCarthy is driving superbly in this final. The time has elapsed, so they're going to get the last lap board when they come round this time. And Conor McCarthy, who's driven a faultless race thus far, has 1 more lap to hold on here at Fulbeck for victory in heat number 3. Oh, and they're both off. Both into the corner. I don't think there was contact. I think McCarthy's gone round by going in there too quickly. Shields has had to spin in order to miss him. And Christian Oblang could potentially inherit an incredible race victory here, because he's been handed it on a plate, has he, by McCarthy and Max Shields. McCarthy's back right now on the back of Christian Oblang. Now Oblang, who's had a trouble-free race so far, is going to come under pressure. Shields is going to have to do well to hold on to third place here from Sebastian Pereira as they head down towards the turn 4 hairpin. Christian Oblang, who was looking like taking third place at best, is going to inherit an incredible victory here in heat number 3. If he can hold it through this final complex of corners, McCarthy and Shields going into that corner looked like McCarthy carried too much speed. Shields as well, and Christian Oblang will come through and take victory in heat number 3.